Okay, so I'm going to read some things from the new book, which is new and selected, so that some of these are old ones. And I thought I would start out with two love poems, because although I'm an old girl, I'm always falling in love. So
Right.
this is called The Peach. Can you hear me? Is everything okay?
Yes.
Good, okay.
Perfect.
The Peach. I stood on a corner eating a peach, the juice running down my arm. A corner in Pyrgos where he left me, Pyrgos where I could catch a bus. What was I supposed to do now, alone, my hands sticky with it, standing on the corner where he left me, a Greek peach, big as a softball, big as an orange from Spain, but it wasn't from Spain, but from Pyrgos, where I could see his red truck disappear around a corner. Not my corner, but farther up the street. And only later, months later, back home, when the trees were slick with ice, their topmost branches shiny as swords stabbing the heart out of the sky, the earth chilled under snowdrifts, or as we tend to say, sleeping. But I don't know. Frozen maybe? Numb? And this is a little love poem. It's an old poem, but I like it and I think it reads well. It's to my husband. It's about snow also, and we used to live in Indianapolis. All right. So that's not South Florida and it's not Georgia, where I am now, but it is where it snows. Snow. Let us speak of love and weather, subtracting nothing. Let us put your mother and mine away for a while, your dying father, my dead one. Let us watch from our bedroom window how a slow falling snow crowns all nakedness in ermine. Do not look at me yet. Your face is flushed, your eyes too love-soaked, too blue. Outside is white on black and still, the sky deaf with stillness. Don't let it frighten you. Hush. There's time enough for that. Be content for now to watch the maples fill with snow, how they spread themselves, each naked limb making itself accessible. Don't you think accessible is the sexiest word in the English language?
Perfect.
Well, this is a poem about my high school gym teacher who also taught health and hygiene. It's called Hygiene. When Miss Garvey preached about the importance of washing beneath our breasts, we were barely 14. We of the pert and perky, the new sproutings of last spring. We of the rose-tipped Sunday, we of the smart aleck mouth. What's this beneath business? There was no beneath. We were upstanding in duplicate and up-to-date, saucy, sassy, and more relevant than we knew. We were upright, up and coming, immortal as summer, flushed as the cherry in our cheeks. The only beneath that counted was beneath a sweater, pointing to the endless possibilities of where we thought we were headed. When we stood firm in our straps, weren't we, for the first time, armed with power? The lure of I dare you, under the do not touch of delicious. To Miss Garvey, object of our 9th grade derision, I apologize. For now, now that I've gotten so old, I have indeed developed an under, a beneath. Sometimes I hear her muffled voice lecturing from my own dark crease where she lives, hunkered down, grousing like the troll under the bridge, and wagging her finger in perpetual admonition. Hygiene, hygiene. Oh, for the days before underwire and underperformance, each morning cup tilted, fresh, and sweet. Well, I think I should read the poem that you've accepted to be published in your fine journal. The only trouble is it's quite long, but I'm going to do it anyway. I did a lot of research for this poem, and even though the story behind it is wacky, it seems that it's true. It's called Obsession. I can't stop thinking about Hitler. How on those hot July nights he'd toss in his bed in Kielstern House, safe in his eyrie, worrying. Not about the war, which was going well, the Panzer divisions, the Luftwaffe, all dependable, devoted, Eva breathing gently at his side. Yet see how he fusses, yanks at the sheets, tangling his ankles, his feet, searching for a cool spot. He groans, then flips on his right side, stares, daring the dark for an answer. And maybe then he gets up, pads to the bathroom in bare feet, peers into the mirror, touching his face as if he can't believe how easy it had all been. See how he loves his face, his eyes, steel blue, Aryan eyes, mustache bristling like a privet hedge, but mostly his ears. Whipping his head side to side, he examines them, their rims steadfast and disciplined, the spirals German to the core. Then he scowls, recalling why he was standing there in the first place, unable to sleep. Ears, not his ears, but Stalin's ears. Were they the right kind, neat, trim, or loose and floppy, hairy, sticking out, pointed like his German shepherds? Ah, if that were all, he frowns. The crucial thing, were they Jewish ears, attached with no space between the lobe and the head? That's what the pamphlet said, the pamphlet he kept on his bedside table. Whoops, sorry. Hadn't he studied the pictures? Jew ears, attached ears, kike ears? He had to know. 1939, year of the Nazi-Soviet pact. Even though Goebbels and Göring think Ribbentrop a flatterer and a fool, Hitler's sending him anywhere. With him, Hoffman the photographer. His task? To record the proceedings, then sneak in a picture of Stalin's ears for Hitler's approval. Hitler feels he's indebted to Hoffman for keeping him supplied with those happy pills and introducing him to his assistant. Hitler smiles, his white rose, that Liebchen, making herself at home now in his bed. Eva, who will agree to death by cyanide at the end, but she doesn't know that yet, does she? August 23rd, the pact signed, a pact neither Hitler nor Stalin will keep. 9 days later, September 1st, 1939, Hitler marches east into Poland. September 17th, Stalin marches west. The rest, history, all due to a photograph of a pair of ears, rather fleshy ears, Slavic ears, but not Jewish ears. We'll have plenty of those later. Thank you. Okay, just two more poems. This is called Mother's Secret. I took care of my mother for the 6 years before she died. She died when she was 95. And anyway, I think there's nothing I have to explain. Mother's Secret. Hesitating between embarrassment and defiance, she told me, but not his name. No good he was, a real womanizer, which meant, in mother speak, a liar. Although he came to the house once, desperate to see her, a man in love, and she not letting him in. A doctor, a rheumatologist, who, in examining her swollen fingers, her aching hands, held them too long, too endearingly long. Then, patience canceled, a leather couch, reached for the pins holding back her hair, that wild chestnut fall. That's all I know. A mystery man whose name she clamped her lips on into a hard 93-year-old line. Or did she forget? She forgot so many things back then. Or just didn't want to say, not willing to open that door, until softly, softly, Pierre, yes, Pierre. I sat white-knuckled in that vinyl nursing home chair, waiting for more, when suddenly she blinked, as if coming out of a trance. And I swear I heard a door click shut in her brain, making that the end of it. And I want to go on record to say this poem exists to celebrate good. Good for Pierre, the rheumatologist, who gave her a gift on a leather couch, a glimpse into the raw center of herself she never knew. Good for the babysitter she hired for 3-year-old me, so a little tenderness could happen. Good for my father, Mr. Slam Bam, thank you, ma'am, who never found out. And good for the trees sashaying outside my window as I write this, slapping their leaves together in applause. Okay, one more. You would think I'm crazy, but the sun, the sun loves me. I am sure he does. I am sure he does. So this is called Sunstruck. I hope you like it. I like it. I'm sitting in the armchair by the window, trying to write the great American poem, when the sun starts nuzzling my neck and dropping his best shine over my shoulder to light my paper and pen, as if he gives a for literature, let alone my poetry. For 8 days now, he's been missing. Once he took up with a little London fog because he heard some song on the radio, and now again. So here he is, trying to apologize, sending flares, flashing his sunspots. If I didn't know better, I'd say he feels guilty, letting the storm clouds have their way, drowning newly fallen leaves, leaving pastures soggy and sullen with wet, then taking off again without notice from his old maintenance job of drying things up. He complains he's not an appliance and resents being compared to a dryer in a laundromat. And now see, here he is, big baby, trying to make up, plastering his silly, smiley face all over my windows. begging. My friends say I should leave, but truth tell, I love him. I really do, even when I get sore and rev things up, especially when he points out what a big star he is. Not just a movie star like Bogart or Valentino, but the real thing. I tell him to quit whining and remind him how he's no extra large, just an ordinary medium stuck in a suburb of an average galaxy. And if that's the hottest argument he can muster, forget it. I pull the shades, let him cool his heels. But I bet he feels bad. When I peek, I see him working up a sweat, splitting atoms, burning hydrogen, boiling off the helium, counting his megawatts, adjusting his E equals MC square, all the while reining in 8 planets and shooting off his rays. I know. To forgive may not mean entirely forget. But when I think of all he does for me, waxing the moon, making daisies grow, and how he puckers up to say goodnight, leaving a purple and gold smear of himself out my window, a sort of kiss, which is the one poem he's able to write. I remember that when I do leave, because one day I will have had enough, he'll still be around. Just you wait and see, showing the world how much he loved me.